my YouTube channel. I'm very glad you're back, because this is the 3-part series. There was the first video where I was talking about what you can do even before you get your pre-release, and there was the second video where I was talking about during the 5 days what you should do. And now this is the last video on this series where I'm just talking about on the day when you are given the 8 hours in 2019. The exam is on the 20th of November. On that day, what do you do? Stick with me. We're just gonna break it down. But if you're new, welcome. My name is Zanele Maduna. I'm a qualified chartered accountant, and I just want to empower aspiring leaders. That's all. That's what I do. So let's get into it. With regards to this, how I'm going to approach this video is that I'm going to look at what is expected of you, and I'm also going to link it to my real life experience, because I qualified at the end of 2017, and this is my second year post articles, and I just started in the new industry. Now I'm in banking. I've never experienced banking before, so it really feels like APC all over again, because now I'm once again in a new environment. Almost everything is new. I have new clients. I have to research new clients. I have new problems. I have to respond to all of this. So I'm gonna go through this and link it to my personal experience, because it's really what Psycha prepared me to do, and I'm not doing bad at all. I still have my job. I haven't quit. But anyway, let's start into it. This is an 8-hour work simulation day, right? From what Psycha says, this can be completed within 6 hours, but however, they do give you 8 hours, right? Within the 8 hours, what do you do? What I would advise you is that first of all, my favorite thing. I'm sure if you've been following me on Instagram as well as following this series, on my stories, even here on YouTube, you know what I like saying: plan. That's the first thing. That's the first thing you need to do. Because remember, you had your pre-release scenario, you have your file, you have your additional information on the day. So now, when you get the task and additional information, you can't just start typing. It doesn't make sense, because you won't use the allocated time efficiently. So what you need to do is to plan, right? So what I would advise you, and what is recommended, is that within the first hour, you take time to actually read the additional information. So what I would do during this time is that I would read the additional information, and as I'm reading the additional information on the day, remember, the information on the pre-release, it had attachments. So it would be maybe document A up until document G or document F, whichever one. So remember, on that one, what I would have done is that even before the day, let's say I'm writing on the 20th, on the 19th, I would have read the pre-release the day before. The day before I go to the exam room, I would have read it again, because remember, during the 5 days, you just jumped into everything, and now you're thinking about specific triggers, of which you just lose overall, the high level of, what's happening in this industry. So the day before, I would have actually read the pre-release again, so that I familiarize myself with it again. And what I would do, I hope you can do this and it'll help you too, I would take the small sticky notes. I think I have sticky notes here. Yes. So I would take, these sticky notes. And then for each section, I would just highlight that, okay, document 1 was on IFRS 15. Document 2, it looked like an ethics thing. Document 3 looked like this manic issue. Document 4 looked like, document D rather, it looked like this audit issue. Then what I would do is that from my summary, I would read my additional information, and on the attachments on the additional information. So now let's say I have document H. Then I would say, okay, document H actually relates to this section in the background information and document B from the pre-release scenario. And I just write so that I make those links as I'm reading the additional information. And once I read the additional information during my 1 hour, what I would do during the 1 hour is that I would say, okay, I'll go to the list of tasks, and I'll say task 1 or task A is requiring me to respond to this email. And then I go back to that email that I was given to in the additional information, and I highlight what the person was asking, because we usually have what we call begging questions, where the person is directing you, I need you to do this and this and this in this way. So I would highlight that I need a format, maybe I need a memo, and then I need it to be addressed to the board, and then I need to list this and this and this and this, and I need to direct it this way. So now I know that in my memo, on my body, I have to include this and this and this and this, right? Now I know that task 1 relates to section B in pre-release, as well as document A, maybe in pre-release. And now I'm linking it to maybe document H in the additional information. And now it's linking, like I know this is where it is in the task, this is where it is in the additional information, and this is where it is in the pre-release as well. So when I'm answering, I'm able to feed from what I have from the pre-release, from the post, as well as what was really asked on that task, right? So that is what I would do during the planning. I would ensure that I know how everything flows. I would ensure that I break everything into tasks, because some tasks, they ask you for 2 things. Maybe they'll have a question with the CFO and they say, write a memo to the board and also respond to my email on this or make notes on this. So I would take into account, like how much should I write really? Because during the planning time, this is where you are assessed whether you can judge, because remember, this is APC. You don't have mark allocation, so you have to use your judgment that this should take me 15 minutes, this should take me 45 minutes, this should take me about an hour. You should know. And once you have stated that, guys, remember, you commit. If you have stated that, actually, so what I would do, I would spend the first hour planning all of that, allocating the time, ranking. Remember, even in my other video, I did say that in every exam scenario, I would rank. I can't start from the first task to the last task. I would start with the ones that make me feel comfortable, get them out of the way within the allocated time. Because remember, sometimes when you know something, you just want to show the whole world that you know it. But let's not do that. Let's just stick to the time. Just be relevant, because if you're giving too much, you will give irrelevant information. And if you're giving irrelevant information, this is where Psycho will be like, maybe this person is not ready to be a chartered accountant, because other people will be consulting with them and they're not going to deliver. And remember, Psycho has promised the market, I have this professional who can lead, develop, influence. This professional is a plug. So now if you just throwing things there and you being irrelevant, Psycho's gonna be like, this person is not ready. This person is not ready to be trusted in the market, right? So I'm just thinking, even now, where I'm working in banking, if maybe they ask me certain things, or maybe I have directors asking me certain things, I don't just go and write everything I know about it. I plan and I'm like, okay, this is how I'm gonna structure it so that, it's relevant to this board and what they're asking, and so just remember that in your planning, guys, just rank it. It's your own race. Even if other people start typing like just when the 8 hours starts, it's not about them, it's about you. You need a plan, and with a proper plan, you can use that 1 hour to plan, and then use the 6 hours to actually type out everything, and use the last hour to go and review your work. I really do think that plan can work. And then when it comes to the second thing rather to consider is that when it comes to the format, I spoke about the fact that always remember to carry your section of communication in your file. So remember, in your file you have that section whereby you have, okay, the letter should always look this way, a memo should always look this way. If I'm asked for notes, if I'm asked for this, I'll always, an email rather, not really a letter, but an email, a memo, all of that. Now you know that if they ask you in this certain way, and if you don't remember this, just go to my last video where I was talking about how to prepare during the 5 days. You would have already had that communication section in your file whereby you have all of these formats, and just stick to the format. If they ask you for a memo, write a memo, and just remember to link. Don't just put information just because you think just because you think people want to read that information, just put the relevant information that they have asked you to actually put there. And then just remember, as you are answering, try to answer each task at a time, because during the 8 hours, I can tell you for sure, multitasking is a lie. I don't know what other people told you, but I know now, even with the position that I just took now in banking, I can go in, and if I have certain tasks that I have to complete within a day, I'm not gonna try to do this for this person and that for that person and this. I'm going to do this, commit these hours, and then just deliver it, move on to the next one, because you'll end up moving from task to task and it's gonna confuse you, and you don't need that. So do one task at a time. And then when it comes to answering all questions, guys, even if they give you 8 tasks, they know you can do it within the 8 hours. So never, guys, this is a sin. Never, ever, 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 I mean ever, even when you are writing on that day, I hope you'll remember the number of evers I give you. Never, ever, ever, ever skip a question and not attempt a question. That is, you can't do that. Just think of it. Me in my position now. Let's say my manager says, Zanele, we have to present this to the board, and then I give my manager the document, and the second question I didn't answer, it's blank. And then, how does it reflect on me? My reputation. So guys, just think of it in real life, because that's what they're testing. You can't just leave out a question. Already, it shows that you are not ready. You are not ready to be a newly qualified. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. And then when it comes to, because remember, you have discussions. It's mostly discussion, but then others will have intensive calculations. And when you do have those calculations, remember to show everything, because just because you're using the smart soft, what is it called? I can't remember. But then that software, just because you're using that software, remember it's Excel and it won't show your formulas to the marker. So remember to show it. And then lastly, I just want to emphasize on, this video was really all about it, but guys, just remember to answer what is asked of you. That's what is required. Answering what is required of you. Just take note of your tone. Like, I know sometimes we put it, you think it's just something you have to take, but then just think of me now in my position in banking. I have fund accountants working, and then I have my managers, you have the directors, you have different people. Just think of me. If the information, for example, if let's say we have certain journals that I need the fund accountant to process so that maybe I can do the financial statements or whatnot, what am I going to do? If I'm going to draft the email to explain it, will that be the same way I would explain it if I was in a board meeting and the board and the directors were asking me, why did the financial statements move like this? Why is there this movement? So remember, with the fund accountant, my tone will be different. My level of detail will be different. I'd be telling the fund accountant, debit this, credit this, do this, But then if I'm in a board meeting and the director's like, but why did expenses move like this? What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna say to the directors, we debited this, we credited this. You can't say that. And even your tone is gonna be different. You'll be able to explain it in a high level so that they understand that no, it changed because this was the scenario, this was meant to be expense, but however, due to this agreement that we received, at first it looked like an asset, but then it had to be reduced. But however, you wouldn't have said it the same way you would have said it to a fund accountant. So just think of me and my experience. It's a pity that I can't go into the exact details on what I do on a daily basis, but I can only tell you high level. But then at the same time, just think of me, just think of me as a newly CA in a different environment and what is expected of me. And basically, this is what this exam is testing you. And if you can be in that mind frame, before the day, just make sure, pray, meditate in the morning, pray, meditate, have your water, have your food. Guys, never forget your jacket, regardless of where you are. If you're writing in South Africa or if you're writing elsewhere, regardless of where you are writing your psycho exam, have your jersey, have what makes you feel comfortable, because you don't want to blame the weather. You don't want to blame the weather. You don't want to blame everything. Stick to your plan, and I'm sure you can do it. All the best, guys. I've tried to tell you everything that I can, but if you feel like you have any questions, please comment down below, because this is the end of the 3-part series. I've told you how to prepare, I've told you what to do during the 5 days, and now we're just summing it up with, you know, what you can do on the day. So yeah, please subscribe, like, ask any questions, do all of the great stuff, and I'll see you on the flip side. Chapeau.